Well, I finally did it. I finally got one. I first saw a video of this fan on Fans and Cars' channel way back in 2017, if I recall correctly. Back when his channel was called Fans and More, and I've wanted one of these fans ever since. And I also know Jordan and Lamont also have these as well. And so after more than 8 years of seeing these fans all over the internet, I finally bought one for myself. This is an Air King model 9212, 12-inch high-velocity floor/table fan. And according to this label, it was assembled in the USA using foreign and domestic parts. Of course, how much of the fan was sourced from the States, we'll never know, but at least it's something. And it was ETL listed. So, in today's video, we're going to unbox it, get my first impressions on it, and hopefully it's a good one, because this was a pretty expensive purchase, and it's something that I've been wanting for a very long time. So, hopefully it's a happy ending after this video. And I'm just saying that because this was no cheap purchase, and I do have high expectations for it. So I'm approaching this with not a whole lot of leeway. If there's anything unacceptable about it, it's probably going to get sent back. It's just so unfortunate that the craftsmanship of these fans are so subpar, because the concept of these fans are fantastic. I mean, they have very steeply pitched blades, a cast ball-bearing motor that's totally enclosed, and it's just a very cool looking fan that it should perform well, but it's kind of plagued with some issue, mainly quality control issues, most notably the blade balance. Apparently these Air King fans, not just this size, but all the other sizes, are just known to have very poorly balanced blades, which cause severe vibration, just quality of the overall build, inconsistencies in the finish. But I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope that this is a good one and not a lemon. Alright, so, well actually first of all, this is the box for it. It's super plain. There's no graphics or printing anywhere on the faces of the box indicating what the product is. Just a sticker here, and yeah, on the other side it's got the shipping label, so rather not show that, but they didn't ship it inside of a different box. This is how it came, which is not ideal. I'd rather have some protection around the original box, but oh well. I mean, it's not really a fancy box anyways. In fact, this probably gets the medal for being the most boring box to be ever featured on my channel. So yeah, the sticker's the only thing indicating the contents of the box. The box arrived in pretty decent shape, a couple wrinkles here and there, but no major tears or damage. Now when I picked up the box from my doorstep, the tape on that side was already broken, which is not a good sign. And when I was carrying the fan downstairs, this side just popped, so the lid is kind of already open. So I'm hoping that the fan inside is okay, but I don't see why it wouldn't be, because this side was still intact, so I don't think the box was ever opened. Okay, let's do it on the floor and I'll bring it up to the table. So, the initial unveil, and there it is. There is the fan. It's so minimally packed. There's no styrofoam, there's hardly any cardboard or anything. So I guess it's environmentally friendly, but I don't know if it offers a whole lot of protection for the fan. So, looks like we got the operating instructions and parts manual. That's interesting. I wonder if you can get replacement parts for it. This is not going to be fun to open up because the folds. Oh, that's it. So, I don't know what it's talking about when it says this is a parts manual, because it doesn't show what any of the parts are, nor an indication that you can order parts, but whatever. Well, here's the fan. Let's see if I can pull this out. this sticker's starting to tear a little bit. I might have to bring out the heat gun. Okay, so here's the fan out of the box, and immediately I noticed a bunch of different things, but the first thing that I noticed was the metal wires on the grills appear to be a little bit more closely spaced than the ones that I remember seeing online. So I went back online just to make sure I wasn't imagining things, and sure enough, I saw some videos, especially Jordan Yu's videos. He's got pretty much the entire collection, the 12, the 14, the 18, and the 20-inch versions of these fans, and they all have the more widely spaced grills. But they are slightly older models. He got them, I think, 6, 7, 8 years ago, compared to his 9312, which is pretty much the same fan as this, except it has a wall mount stand on it, which he got only a couple years ago in 2023. And that fan has the same, more like tightly spaced grill like this fan does. And in the video, Jordan speculated that maybe it's a Canadian thing because his fan had some mix of French and English on the labels, but this fan here doesn't have any French on it. It's all English. So I don't think it's a Canadian specific market design or anything like that. So I'm wondering if this is like a new OSHA standard that Air King implemented onto these fans. So I'm guessing that if I'm correct, maybe all of the fans, all the different sizes have this more restrictive grill, which it's not terrible. I mean, I'm sure air can still pass through it, but it's not as open as the older ones. So that's the first thing that I noticed. And the next series of things that I noticed on this fan is just how bad the build quality and the quality control is. There's so many things on it for the price of this fan that should be better than what it is. So the first thing is, look at the handle on this thing. It's crooked, and I think that's due to the fact that the whole back grill is misaligned with the front. You see how these radial spokes here on the front grill doesn't quite line up with the back grill. You can see the front grill is a little bit more clockwise than the back grill, or in this case I guess the back grill is a little bit more counterclockwise relative to the front grill, resulting in this handle being crooked to this side. Like, come on, like I've never seen that even on a Chinese-made fan that I buy at Walmart. This is absurd. That's the first thing. The second thing is, well, let me bring the camera closer and show you guys. The finish of this fan, I think it's like a black epoxy powder coat or some sort. It's just so bad. I mean, look at this. It's missing a whole bunch of powder coat material along the edges here. I don't know if it's completely exposed metal there or if it's just a really thin coat. But it's so inconsistent, and there are some other spots around the fan where the powder coat is just kind of prepped very poorly, like thin spots, thick spots, and it just doesn't feel like a fan of this premium price. And I don't know what you call this piece right here, I guess the hinge or the pivot. It's not even painted, or it's not even powder coated. To me it looks like a black oxide finish, which it's not a bad thing, but it just feels cheap. It doesn't look fully prepped, and I'm concerned that might rust if you use this in like a damn environment. Well, this spot's already rusty. That's fantastic. Now the next couple are very minor nitpicks from me, but look how poorly installed this sticker is. It's off center, it's crooked, it's got a bunch of air bubbles underneath it. I mean, surely it can't be that difficult to put a sticker on nicely, especially for a fan of this price, but, well, here we are. I've gotten, in the past 10 years or so, I've purchased dozens of fans, brand new, from big box stores that were, generic, made overseas, that were sub $20, that had better sticker applications than this fan. Now, obviously, this is not really a big deal. I'm not going to cry over it. But it's, being the perfectionist that I am, it kind of does annoy me, especially for this price point. But whatever. The next thing is, I tried capturing it, but it's not really picking up on camera that well. The blades and also the stand have some fingerprints all over them. I'm assuming that's from the factory. when the fan was assembled. The workers, I guess, didn't wear gloves, so kind of a little annoying. I might open up the fan later and tidy that up, but kind of expect a little bit more from a fan at this price point. Alright, enough criticism. Let's now talk about the good things on this fan. Now the first thing is, thankfully, the fan aspect of the fan. So the motor and the blades. So the motor on this fan is pretty beefy. It has a permanent split capacitor motor, and I believe it has cast aluminum casings that's sandwiching the stator, and they actually have little ribs all along the radius to kind of act like a heatsink, carries heat away from the stator and keeps the motor cooler, prolongs the life of the motor, so that's great to see. And this is a ball bearing motor as well. And the blade pitch, check that out. That is pretty aggressive. Now granted, the initial scoop of the blades is pretty shallow, but there's a fold right there, and there's another fold at the 2/3, and this trailing edge is very aggressive. And this kind of reminds me of the first generation Lakewood HV12s from the 70s, which also had a very steeply pitched blade set. But the only difference is that the Lakewood had a consistent, super aggressive pitch throughout the entire width of the blades. So the initial scoop was just as aggressive as the trailing edge, whereas on the Air King here, you can see the initial scoop is pretty shallow. So my guess with this fan is that it takes a smaller volume of air and accelerates that air to a higher velocity. Whereas the Lakewood HV12, because of the consistent aggressive scoop, it probably scoops up a larger volume of air that also gets accelerated. So I bet the Lakewood's a lot more powerful, but we'll see. We'll see how this Air King is. It looks pretty aggressive to me, and I'm sure it moves a lot of air. Okay, here in the back we have this plastic cover, which, I don't know, it kind of looks like, it reminds me of the second gen Lakewood HV18s with the big cover. It's got a rotary dial here, which feels nice, easy to read numbers. And according to the sticker, this is a Type 12 HV model 9212, and I don't know what TP means. Oh, thermally protected. 120 volts, 60 hertz, and 0.75 amps. ETL listed. It says it conforms to UL standards, but no actual UL approval sticker here, or label. And assembled in USA, which is, it's nice to see, but unfortunately it just doesn't really live up to the quality that I expect, but we'll set that aside. Let's go ahead and plug this fan in and give it its test run. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the blades are well balanced, because that's the big thing. If this thing shakes like there's no tomorrow, it's gonna have to get sent back. But let's try it out. Now look at the cord on this thing. It's chunky. And this is an 18 gauge cord too, but it has a super thick insulation on it, so it's a lot thicker actually physically than what most other 18 gauge cords are. It has the infamous blue non-replaceable fuse plug. So if this ever blows for whatever reason, I'm going to chop off the cord and put a non-fused plug on it. It's got this warning on here. Let's see what it says. And it's a safety device. Discard the product if the attachment plug or cord is damaged. Do not remove this tag! Alright, got the fan plugged in. It's ready to go. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that the blades are at least in decent balance, but we won't find out until we try it, so let's try it on low first. Well, that actually has a slight startup sound. Didn't expect that. Wow, that's quiet. And? Okay, well, it does have a slight vibration, but it's nowhere as bad as I expected it. Now, granted, I was expecting the absolute worst, but that's not bad. Now, of course, for a fan that costs like 120, 130 Canadian dollars, which I think is around, I don't know, 80-ish American dollars, the blades should be perfectly balanced. But knowing Air King and their horrible reputation for having bad blades, it's acceptable. I'm okay with that. At least on low. We'll check it on medium and high. Now the airflow is very gentle. It's a light breeze. Not exactly high velocity at this speed, but it's also a super quiet speed, which I appreciate. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it up to medium, see what that's like. Alright, so a very marginal increase from the low speed. Still very quiet. There's a slight increase in the airflow. And it's interesting the way this fan moves air. There's a lot of pressure up front, right against the front of the fan, but it dissipates very quickly. So now I'm standing about 6 feet back from the fan, and you can tell it's spread out a lot. So it's kind of diluted airflow. I don't know if that's even a correct term, but it doesn't project it. It doesn't propel the airflow far, like, for example, a Vornado would do. But of course, that's not really the purpose of fans like this. Okay, let's go and turn it up to high. Give it all the power it's got. Alright, big jump from medium. Okay, well, it vibrates, but it's actually alright. So I don't know if I got just lucky with this fan and got a decent blade set, or if Air King actually improved their blade balancing procedure, if they even had one. But this one's alright. It's still fairly quiet, but it's moving a lot of air, that's for sure. Okay, let's observe the spin down. Now it does have ball bearing motors, like I said, so the spin down should be pretty good. Although it is a brand new fan, so the ball bearings might need to break in a little bit, so the spin down may not be the longest. And also this is a good time to observe whether the blades are terribly out of balance or not, because if they are, you'll typically see the blade kind of roll back and find its heavy spot once it comes to a stop. But this one, okay, well, it didn't do that. That's good. Alright, so that's going to conclude this unboxing, test, and first impressions of this Air King 9212 high velocity floor fan. So my first impressions on this fan, overall, it's pretty mediocre. I am very disappointed by the overall build quality of it. Considering its price point, it should be a lot better. I mean, the finish on it, the crookedness of the front and back grille, the blade balance, and all of that. I expect so much more for a fan that's built in America, that's $120, $130 Canadian. It should be so much better. And also the fact that I've bought so many fans from big box stores that were generic, made overseas, that were really cheap, that had better build quality than this fan. That's unacceptable, honestly, but at the same time, it performs pretty well. I like its concept, its design, and I've wanted this fan for a long time, so I will keep this fan. It's something that I'll keep around, and I'll use it regularly, and eventually I'll come back with a long-term review and tell you guys how it holds up. I imagine it'll be fine. It'll probably last a long time. Same with the ball bearings. It should be a long-lasting component, and it's pretty easy to swap it out too. So there it is, guys. That's going to wrap up this video, so as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.